Hey and welcome, I'm Hammeh, and in this video we're going to be exploring Marvel Rivals' hero lore interactions and voice lines. Before every match starts, Marvel Rivals characters chat with each other in a lot of conversations that show off their stories, their rich worlds in the Marvel Universe previously, and a little bit about how the characters might react if they were teamed up together too. Today's hero should need no introduction, but it's Thor, the god of thunder, prince, and at some points king of Asgard, depending on what timeline and story you're in, and much, much more. We'll dive into his voice lines and interactions in the game first, and then go through a little bit about his lore because it gives some of the voice lines and interactions some context. Time codes are in the description if you want to skip around. Okay, let's get stuck in.
So, you are the perfect human?
I gather that was the intent.
Typical mortals. To believe that despite their imperfections, they could perfect themselves.
This universe calls on me to protect it. And yet...
You cannot forsake the people of your own kingdom. I understand that struggle all too well.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Perhaps the only thing heavier than my hammer, old friend. Wizard! I thought you were imprisoned on another plane!
Nobody can keep me locked up for long.
Ha! That's what I said in the Tower of Solitude.
I know. Loki might have cast a spell of silence in the tower, but I could hear you loud and clear on the astral plane.
Stephen, old friend, be mindful that the barrier between realms is most fragile.
It is indeed troubling, Thor. The mystic community on Earth is helping me monitor all kinds of dimensional disturbance.
It is always reassuring to have you in Midgard. Whatever bargain you think you struck with Loki, he will betray you.
That's hardly your concern, Odin's son.
Asgard is my concern.
Then you should worry about Loki, not me. Loki believes he is saving Asgard.
Loki lies, even to himself. And if you believe him, you are lying to yourself.
It matters not. Asgard will be mine in the end.
My fists, your hammer. Let's go.
Oh, the battle is joined.
I hope you're feeling worthy today, Goldilocks. We've got our work cut out for us.
Mjolnir brings the wrath of the Odin force to our enemies.
Now that's how you start a battle.
What manner of creature are you? Strange allies this war has brought together. We were inseparable as children, you and I.
And then we grew up. Well, one of us did. You remain a stupid child.
Brother, remember that time you picked Mjolnir's feathers clean and Father was furious?
It wasn't me.
Oh, like hell it wasn't. But I never figured out how he could forget. That bird remembers everything.
After you picked him clean, I knew I would get blamed.
Did we not always imagine this, brother? Battling side by side with the fate of the realms at stake?
What if we did?
Now it is happening!
Though most unlike how either of us pictured.
Hey, Thor, let me see the hammer.
No.
I just want to see if it'll charge up my gun. Come on, I'll give it back.
No.
Come on!
Does anyone wish to find out if they're worthy? Come on, it'd be fun!
Haven't plenty of people lifted it already? There's Cap, Jane Foster, that alien horse guy.
I know many lords on many worlds, Peter Quill. None of them mention you. What are you lord of, precisely?
I mean, you know, the stars. It's like everything.
Asgard?
No, I mean, you can keep...
Is Starlord a title of the Intergalactic Empire?
No.
I knew numerous princes and marquises from Nordic Midgard. Harold Fairhair, Eric Bloodaxe. Your father must be a great king.
Ah, Thor. Are you here to compare lightning?
Lady, I could never. 'Twould crush your spirits.
Oh, would it? Let us see what our enemies think.
If any of them can yet speak when we have done. You have held Mjolnir. You control lightning. Mayhap you are Odin's long-lost daughter?
No, thank you. The X-Men are enough family drama.
Brother?
Brother?
This changes nothing about the reckoning you must face for what you have done to Asgard.
I know you believe that, but time, as we shall see, doesn't always move in a straight line.
What a magnificent place.
It is my home. We must save it.
From Dr. Doom?
Doom is no threat to Asgard, but Loki is.
So there are Thor's voice lines and interactions, including some kill lines. There are a bunch more that I'll get when I'm able to. A little bit about his lore. Now, Marvel Rivals has its own timeline, its own story in the Marvel Universe, an own version of Earth and the universe. In this version, two different versions of Doctor Doom are fighting each other, and the universe itself is under threat, leading many heroes and villains to come together and try to stop them, including some unlikely team-ups. Now, every hero in Marvel Rivals has their own in-game little short story that you can see in the hero profile in-game, which is super cool. In Thor's, we learn a bit about what's been going on with him, Loki, Hela, and Asgard. Now, a quick summary of Thor, if you're not massively into Marvel. One of the OG, or the earliest Marvel heroes. He first made his debut in the series Journey into Mystery in 1962, would you believe, and first received his own comic with Thor in 1966. Now, Thor has had many different versions, indeed people representing the title since then, but the king or the prince of Asgard, he is very often banished for his arrogance by his father Odin, and often has to work to reclaim being worthy. Of course, those who are worthy of Mjolnir's power, Thor's hammer, are able to lift and wield it, a theme in many comics and also many books. He often, when he is on Midgard or Earth, takes an alias or takes a bond with a person. This was Surgeon Donald Blake at one point. He was also Sigurd Jarlsson, a construction worker. Through his living on and sometimes through and with the people of Earth, Thor has a great bond with Earth. In some stories, he even tries to rule it himself by, when he becomes King of Asgard, moving it directly next to Earth and trying to rule the two together. However, that actually causes the destruction of Asgard and New York. Thor, of course, in terms of his powers, can control weather, particularly lightning, and Mjolnir, his hammer crafted from the metal Uru, is nearly indestructible and amplifies his natural abilities. At various points, Mjolnir has also given Thor the ability to travel through time. We could talk about the MCU and films for a long time, but suffice to say, 4 of his own films, as well as appearing in the main Marvel Avengers films too. And in terms of Norse and Viking mythology, of course, Thor pops up in many different media types in many different ways. For video games, he did have his own one going with the original film. Maybe less said about that the better, certainly a game of its time, and of course pops up in other games such as Smite 2. So in this version of Asgard and the universe, Thor has been tricked into being imprisoned in the Tower of Solitude in Asgard by Loki, who has then done a deal with the devil, or not quite the devil, but certainly Hela, to rule Asgard and to try and impose their own vision as to what the 10 realms and the universe should be like. In Thor's short story, we see him break out of the Tower of Solitude using Mjolnir. There has been a silence enchantment casted on it by Loki, so nobody can actually hear any noise that Thor makes. However, we actually learned from one of the voice lines, as you've heard, that Doctor Strange could hear him across the astral plane. Thor breaks his way out, battles with Loki. Hela then shows up upon Thor's escape and sends armies of her dead at him. Wave after wave after wave, Thor battles the best he can, merely for Hela and Loki's amusement, before Hela dismisses the armies with a wave of her hand. As Thor recovers from battling Asgardians, Dark Elves, Trolls of Jotunheim, and dead of all of the 10 realms, Loki and Hela explain their plan. In Thor's opinion, if Asgard falls, then the 10 realms in the universe are under threat. In Loki and Hela's opinion, mortals have already caused all of these problems. As a result, they want to reshape not only Asgard, but also the rest of the 10 realms in their image, and they see Thor as not being a part of that, being an antiquated school of thinking and an old way of keeping things in check. As Thor is cast by a spell from Hela into a desert, and he believes it's Midgard or Earth, he runs into none other than Hulk. However, it's not the Hulk that Thor is used to seeing. This is the Gamma Hulk, the Gamma-supported Hulk of the world of Marvel Rivals. Battling Hulk and managing to knock him out of his senses into being Bruce Banner again for a second, Banner recognizes Thor, and Thor takes all the help he can get so he can return to Asgard. There you have it. There are the lore interactions and voice lines of Thor. If you like this video, throw a like, subscribe, let me know what you enjoyed in the comments and your favourites. Love to hear from you. I'll be doing these along with Overwatch, other games and more with the lore and storytelling of all of these. Check out these playlists if you want to see what I've done for Overwatch, Valorant, Cyberpunk and many, many more games here, as well as more Marvel Rivals coming up. Cheers for tuning in. I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.